Hello and welcome to my channel on human design, which in recent months has turned into a question and answer from those viewers who really love the knowledge or are curious about it, and I do my best to answer whatever those questions are. So let me move straight into it with a question from one of our regulars, Alves. And the question is about, are raves not really humans? What is it exactly that defines a rave, and what is it that defines a human for them to be considered different beings? Are raves not humans as well? Ever since I found out about the beings that will come after 2027, I always think about them as humans with a mutation. But is it wrong to call them humans? If so, why? That's a great question, Alves. Thank you. And it also gives me the opportunity to retell one of Ra's jokes. He used to annoy people by saying to them, "What's the difference between a dog and a human?" And people would go, "Well, I don't know." He goes, "A dog isn't a human." And in the same way, a rave is not a human. So we both have 9 centers, and the 9 centers that you're familiar with. So what is a human? What makes a human? Well, a human is basically at the moment in transition. So we are beyond the 7-centered model of purely strategic thinking and everything goal-orientated. A lot of us have some of that in us. But there is also now in the 9-centered model, the update, since 1781, of this potential for also a more peripheral awareness, a right, more passive, receptive awareness. So this is a human at the moment is kind of, there's a mixture of things going on. But the one thing that makes us really human is that, we have our own thoughts. We are in our own interior. No one can actually read our thoughts. Well, at the moment. There is also this aspect of humans where we are here in the ajna of a single being. So it is our job to conceptually map out the Maya, which we've done a fairly good job of. I mean, it's certainly not complete. I mean, we have completed it as a species, but not all the information is available, unfortunately, despite the internet. However, we've done a pretty good job. And that's our job, through the ajna, to conceptualize, to see, to imagine, to bring into form different things. And it's within the human realm to be kind of in our own movement. It's about us, basically. Each one of us is a separate being. And that's the way we look at things. But the raves are completely different. They are going to be much more right fixed. So it's not about them. In fact, when they're born, they don't really come into existence. Their bodies are born, but their consciousness is waiting. And it's only when others come together of the right ilk, if we put it that way, that a penta consciousness is born, and then they come alive. It is in the melding of consciousness that the raves really exist. It's where they live. They're not interested in us. They're not interested in the outside. They're interested on the inside. They're interested in the frequencies. They're interested in when I say interested, they're going to be involved in an emotionally aware operating system, if I put it that way, which is very different to humans. Our emotional experiences are all up and down and in waves and, rather chaotic, because we are in transit. We are in a transitory phase. So in a nutshell, that's the difference. The humans, separate beings, the raves melding in consciousness. So many bodies, but a single mind, a single consciousness that will be able to filter out the different frequencies around them in a way that, we have to use machines to do it. And even then it's limited. Anyway, that's briefly it. I hope that was helpful, and thank you for the question. Our next question is from Chris Ivanov, and the question is about the resistance that we experience in life. How can I make a difference between what is a resistance when I am not correct and what are challenges in life when I am correct? I learned about Rave cycle analysis, which Ra has said is not self-analysis, but at the same time he describes what people, direction, and thematics one will meet during the year. If this is imprinted, how can one live it correctly if it can't be escaped? A person interacts with many people, and the decision of one person can impact others and create a thematic which they then have to deal with during the year. It's all interconnected. Is this why Ra says no choice? But then again, why does he say that it's not self-analysis? Does it mean that this is going to happen this year if you follow strategy and authority and surrender? If you experience it through passenger consciousness, you will be okay. If you interfere, you will meet resistance. You won't be okay. What happens if one is not correct? Has to deal with some person or something, but instead mind interferes and the person doesn't do anything. It is delayed for the next year or years. Things get more complex, difficult to deal with, etc. Is this what resistance is? Wow, Chris, what a question. A good question. I like the question. Let's have a look about the cycle analysis, the cycles, and you were particularly referring to the solar return analysis, where every year the pattern and the thematics of that year for us can be seen. Now, what you're looking at then in the two colors, so the black and red becomes yellow or whatever it may be, and the transit is in blue or green, let's say. So there are two colors, and the color for you will be one color, both black and red, and the transit is another color. So it's basically saying, not that this is what is going to happen, but this is the weather you're going to meet in this year. Now, how you deal with it depends on strategy and authority, how you deal on it. So if, for example, you had the 4037 coming up as a transit effect, you know, you're going to be involved in issues about making deals, about working for the family, about finding perhaps a place or a person to belong, you know, getting involved in supporting other people. These are the kinds of things that you would expect from the channel of community coming in. But whether they're right or not for you will depend on whether you respond or not to them. And if you don't, you're going to meet them and you're going to get entwined with them. And then all the questions that you asked afterwards become relevant. But if it is correct for you, then it will be part of you really exploring the themes of support and love and being part of a group and all that that can offer. And if not, you're going to find yourself saying yes to the wrong thing, getting involved with a community situation or a business situation within a group. And it's going to suck. And you're going to go, well, I wish to God I'd never taken this job, or I never moved here, or whatever. So you can meet something as a theme and be correct with it and learn from it, which is really what it's about. Or you can be incorrect in your decision making and you're going to learn from it the hard way. So in that sense, it's not self-analysis about the cycle is you. You can reflect upon what's happening to you through the year based on your overview of seeing it through the cycle. And then you can reflect and go, yeah, I didn't make the right decision. Or, yeah, I'm really glad I made that decision when I did. You know, you can look at some of that, how it's benefiting you, how you're learning from it, how you're expanding through the experience. But it's not saying that this particular thing, you know, will happen, because we can only give a thematic. I don't know whether it's going to be a business or a family or a move or a club you join. Who knows? We cannot know that. That's for each person to discover in the living of their own life and the acceptance or rejection of whatever the weather brings. If it brings you into a more of an emotional state, if you're an unemotional being, then you're here to learn about that aspect of the emotions, good or bad, positive or negative. It's learning. It's giving you a heads up of what's coming. That's all. That's why he said it's not self-analysis as such. It's giving you a heads up about the weather that's coming. And how you respond to that will depend on your correctness. If you're correct, there will be less resistance. If you're correct, you will be opened up by the experience. You'll learn from it in a healthy and safe way. And if not, then you'll meet the resistance of it not being easy, and you finding yourself in situations you should never have stepped into. Okay, I hope that's answered your question, and thank you. Good question. And here's one on business and work and response from Julie. And she asks, "Hi, Richard. How do I wait to respond as a generator when my ultimate goal is to start my own business? No one is going to come offer me a job. So what types of things might arise that I can respond to?" Well, that's a great way to look at it, Julie. I mean, look, basically, you are here to respond to life. You're here to respond to your own life force in its interaction with the outside world. So, yeah, no one's going to offer you a job. Fair enough. You know, I'm pretty unemployable myself. I don't like taking orders. So the thing is, what do you respond to? And whatever the work you respond to, that's what you'll be looking into. That's where your strategic mind will be looking, because you sound like you got goals and strategy there. Again, I don't know the chart. But in that sense, you know, you will be, if I'm assuming you have, your mind will be pointing you in a particular direction, and a direction that is of interest to you, in what that business will be about, and also how you will do it. You know, you're going to respond to bring in social media or not, or delegate that to someone else. You're going to respond to perhaps bringing in someone to help you with it. You know, you'll be responding to exactly what the packaging is, if it's a product. You know, the excitement, the movement of the energy, the wanting to get into the business, you know, wanting to love what it is that you do. That's response. And from that, the life moves. And from that, you have a successful life. It's what you respond to in the nature of the business, and where it is, and who's involved with it, and how the hell you're going to do it. That's response. If you're not responding to running the business, but it's just an idea, then of course there's going to be a stagnancy, a stuckness, of not knowing what to do. And if you're in that state, then just look and see what you are already doing with your energy. Look and see where your focus is on an everyday basis, and whether you're satisfied in it or not. And if there's something that you're doing on a more regular basis that's involving your life and you're enjoying it, business related to that would make sense. You know, if there's, and the way through becomes clear once you begin to focus on it. It's all through response. Okay, well, I hope that helped, and thank you for the question. The last question for this week asked two questions that appear to be unrelated, but in fact are deeply connected, as I'll show. So this is from Merlin Flexer. Great name, reminds me of a kind of a magical yoga teacher. Anyway, here is their question. As an emotional 1-3 manifesting generator, I wonder if you have any advice on how to let go of unimportant things that the first line investigator always wants to deal with. I waste so much lifetime with stuff that is not important, and that doesn't take me anywhere. And then on the other side, I also move through life too fast and dig myself a deeper and deeper hole. But instead of slowly shoveling myself free, I get bored by that and then give up and waste time again by investigating unimportant topics. So that's the first part of the question. And as a general thing, I would have said, have you got an open head in ajna, and are you spending your time in your head rather than living the life? But we can do better than that this time because of your second question. I saw an older video of yours that your Incarnation Cross is, like mine, also the right angle cross of laws too. Do you interpret the word law more like rules in a society on what to do or not to do? Or more like the word law in the sense of explaining the world based on the laws of how everything works? And yes, I know that my strategy and authority will eventually lead me towards a position where things will unfold naturally, but I'm just curious, and I want to know which of the two meanings of this word applies to how things unfolded for you. Because I personally enjoy talking about both, explaining how things work and making suggestions on how literal laws in our society should be. I'm curious to see how someone else who has already much more life experience than I do lives out this configuration. Well, Merlin, we don't have the same Incarnation Cross. Mine is the right angle cross of laws. I come from the fourth quarter, so my life is fulfilled through transformation of myself, transformation of those around me. Your Incarnation Cross is right angle cross of the laws too, which means that you come from the second quarter, the quarter of civilization, and you fulfill your life through form, through what you do in form. If you have the 62, maybe through writing, or with the 56 in terms of the stories that you tell. You know, it's all about form, where you go to, what you experience in the body. So your cross is less about the mental side, and actually, strangely enough, but much more about being in the life itself and living it out. So very different in that sense, very different. So when you look at your first question, why am I spending so much time in the head when it's just, you know, wasting time? It's because you want to get into the life. You're not here to be concerned with all the head stuff so much. It's about what you're going to be doing in the life, what you're living out, what you're experiencing, what you're wearing, what you're eating, where you are, who's around you. And more importantly, you know, you get bored easily. Why? I mean, this is so beautiful, because in your second question, you say, I'd like to know about, you know, what the law really means, because I'm just curious. Well, you are curious. The 56th, the lead gate, the sun in your chart, is all about stimulation and storytelling. And, you know, basically you can get easily distracted. It's part of the cross of distraction. So I also have it, and we can both get distracted. But you're here to live that out. And so you might want to think about, you know, moving into a place where you're more of an entertainer, you know, where there still will be the new and the fertile ground that you look for. You know, we both share that. There is this aspect of us that really wants to find what is fertile, mutative land, you know, bringing something new in. The answer, by the way, is basically move the body, come back into the body. Don't get so lost in the head when you're wasting so much time. You know, you're an MG, for God's sake. You know, there'll be a certain amount of frustration and anger that, you know, you are wasting so much time, which is why you asked the question. So move that body of yours into something. You know, again, I don't know your whole chart, so I can't really give you specific advice on much more than what I've already said, apart from understanding that the 56 is easily distracted because it needs the stimulation. You're here to shine out with really interesting stimulation, to share that with others. And it can be done in allegory, it can be done in a mythical way, it can be done in the way you bring people into your stories in order to show them something, in order to get them to be involved with the drama of what you want to experience. And as you're talking about it, you are experiencing it, and they are taking from you, from the stories that you are speaking. So I ground myself in the storyteller, whereas my focus is in the 60-line one. So the 60-line one is about limits. It's about the acceptance of the way things are, to accept the limitations, and then transformation can happen. But it's also me, you know, looking to see what is really solid out there in terms of the structures. You know, is it really a limitation? So I'm always kind of testing the limits in some way, as you will be doing as well, but as a grounding. I do it to shine out in the way that I've opened up this channel for viewers to ask me questions. Their testing of the knowledge, they're trying to find out, does it really make sense? And talking them through it. It's part of what I do. It's part of what I'm here to do. You, on the other hand, are here to be the entertainer. You are here to find stimulating things and really see what is the core of that stimulation and where that will lead you to, what discoveries you'll find. Regarding the laws isn't about necessarily how something works or the laws of society. It's your laws. The cross of laws means you have your own values that you will hold by. Your own values, and in your case it's going to be the 50 line 3 in adaptability. You have values that will take you towards realizing that you need the support of others in order to really live the life that you want to live. Again, if you look at the line level and you think about it, you'll see what I mean. The details of human design are very important in getting very specific about who we are and how we operate. And you'll find a lot of those details in the line, or some of them anyway. So that's what I have to say to you. The two are connected in that, you do get bored easily. Yes, you do. So you need a lot of entertainment and stimulation. And if you want to build something in your life because you're an MG and you're here to build your life, you begin the building blocks and you build upon them and you build upon them. As you can see that I have done in my career in human design, one thing has led to another, much to my awe and wonder. But this is what happens. We build the life. So you're here to build the life, not to sit around and think all the time. Okay, well, that was an entertaining question or questions. Thank you very much for that. And if you've been entertained and you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. I'll be back again next week with something completely different. Bye for now.